Marvel Studios has been building an expansive universe populated by iconic comic book characters for almost a decade now, and most of the storytelling has been tight, thorough, and fan-pleasing. But that isn't always true of the MCU's supporting cast. Some characters have fallen into the cracks between sequels or found themselves caught up in plot threads that lead to oblivion. This is a problem that dates back to the first phase of the MCU, but it's an issue that still persists. In Thor Ragnarok, several key characters from previous films were missing, and in some cases, their omissions were felt. Should we look at some other examples? I'm Ben from Whatculture, and here are 10 Marvel Cinematic Universe characters who are AWOL. Number 10. Betty Ross. The Hulk seemed to forget all about his main love interest when Marvel swapped Edward Norton for Mark Ruffalo. Betty Ross hasn't been seen in the MCU since 2008, and that doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. The Green Goliath has since struck up a budding romance with Black Widow, and his previous squeeze, traditionally depicted as the love of his life, hasn't been given so much as a passing mention since The Incredible Hulk. Fans were reminded of her absence in Captain America: Civil War, when her father, General Thaddeus E. Thunderbolt Ross, made a cameo appearance, and it's almost as if Betty has been written out of the MCU continuity along with Ed Norton. Number 9. Lady Sif. When Hela invaded Asgard in Thor Ragnarok, the Warriors 3 were part of the welcoming committee and didn't come away from the encounter too well. Oh dear, they're dead. Are they? Maybe, probably. Their presence in the film raised a massive question. Where, in the 9 realms, is Lady Sif? Jamie Alexander, the actress who plays the Norse warrior, has weighed in on the matter, telling Yahoo Movies that she was asked to reprise her role but couldn't because of other commitments. That's all well and good, but her absence left viewers wondering whether she's still alive. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige has confirmed Sif wasn't on Asgard when Hela invaded, but there's no signs of them finding a place for her in the MCU going forward. Number 8. Red Skull. When Johann Schmidt was last seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he was being swallowed up by the Tesseract during Captain America: The First Avengers Final Showdown. Where is he now? Nobody knows. Anyone familiar with their Marvel lore is probably aware that Red Skull was most likely spirited away to another part of the multiverse, but whether he will ever re-emerge to wreak Nazi havoc again is uncertain. Presumably, Marvel left his fate ambiguous to leave the door open for future outings, but Hugo Weaving's reluctance to reprise the role can likely put an end to speculation. Number 7. Uncle Ben. Spider-Man: Homecoming took place during Peter Parker's teenage years, so it can be excused for excluding iconic characters like J. Jonah Jameson and Norman Osborn. Spider-Man just simply wouldn't have crossed paths with them at this stage in his life. Uncle Ben is another matter entirely, because he would have been a major part of Peter's early life, and his lectures in the merits of responsibility and positions of power should have been the foundation for Spider-Man's moral code. Although Tony Stark shouldered the father figure role, Uncle Ben should have at least been given a passing mention, if not by Spidey, then from his widow Aunt May. Including Uncle Ben flashbacks may have felt like retreading old ground, but the man should at least be acknowledged in Homecoming's 2019 sequel. Number 6. Nick Fury. Avengers: Infinity War's character roster is jam-packed with heroes and villains, but it also has a glaring omission. Nick Fury. As the man who brought the Avengers together in the first place, the former S.H.I.E.L.D. commander has every right to be there when they make their final stand against Thanos, but his whereabouts in the modern-day MCU are a mystery. The eye patch-wearing badass disappeared off the radar at the end of The Winter Soldier, but was back to help the Avengers during their hour of need in Age of Ultron. His absence in Civil War was felt, though, and there's no doubt the fans would appreciate an official explanation regarding his location in the next 2 Avengers movies. Number 5. Samuel Stearns. There's no doubt Marvel's intention was to give the Hulk a series of films like Iron Man, Thor, and Co. have enjoyed, and this dangling plot thread from his original outings would have been addressed in one of them. Samuel Stearns' solo movie outing ended with him being exposed to Bruce Banner's blood, kicking off his transformation into the supervillain known as the Leader. Marvel mopped up the mess this created in the digital comic series Fury's Big Week, which revealed that Natasha Romanoff later arrived on the scene, subdued the mutating Doctor, and handed him over to S.H.I.E.L.D., but fans have every reason to wonder about what happened to him since then. Number 4. The Mandarin. How much you appreciate the Marvel Cinematic Universe's take on the Mandarin depends on how much of a purist you are where Iron Man lore is concerned. Iron Man 3 turned Tony Stark's arch-nemesis into a punchline delivered by Ben Kingsley, ultimately outing him as a ruse. Marvel was clearly aware this didn't wash with fans who wanted to see an actual Mandarin, so appeasement came in the form of confirmation that the real version of the mystical villain might actually be at large. In one shot, all hail the king. Was this merely an in-joke for the fans, or a massive revelation that foreshadows the appearance of a major Marvel villain? Those who believe it's the latter are no doubt eager to know where the MCU's real Mandarin has been holed up all this time. Number 3. Jane Foster. Jane Foster is another character who's been jilted by Marvel, although a fleeting reference to her in Ragnarok suggests she's the one who actually did the jilting, in story terms, at least. Nevertheless, she can still be classed as AWOL since nobody knows what she's up to in current MCU continuity. A mind like hers would surely be useful to the Avengers when Thanos arrives on the scene, but it seems there are no plans to bring her back. Natalie Portman is probably okay with this since report suggests that she's had beef with Marvel in the past. When Patty Jenkins was forced out of Thor: The Dark World's director's chair, the Wall Street Journal claimed she almost quit the series in protest. Number 2. Darcy Lewis. Darcy and Jane always came as a package deal, so since we're unlikely to see Thor's ex in the MCU again, her best friend is probably gone for good too. The character served little purpose beyond comic relief in the first 2 Thor films, but in a universe of superpowered beings and geniuses, there's a place for that. Darcy is just your average millennial trying to get by in a world of gods and monsters, and her fish-out-of-water observations kept Thor in its sequel grounded and, at times, light-hearted. Her colleague Dr. Eric Selvig is rumoured to show up in Infinity War, but don't expect him to have his bumbling assistant by his side, since he didn't seem to need her in his previous Avengers outing. Number 1. EMIL BLONSKY. EMIL BLONSKY is another victim of the Incredible Hulk's lukewarm reception, as Tim Roth's villain has also been consigned to the MCU's history books. The Abomination is one of the few MCU villains capable of hitting heavily enough to match the Hulk blow for blow, but it doesn't sound like he'll ever return. Following his apparent arrest at the end of the Incredible Hulk, status updates on Blonsky have been few and far between, with a fleeting reference in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. confirming he's in a cryocell in Alaska. Who knows if he's still locked up there, almost a decade on, but if he has escaped, the MCU would know about it. And that's our list. Make sure you subscribe to the Whatculture YouTube channel for more lists like this, and don't forget to visit whatculture.com for daily news and articles. I'm Ben from Whatculture, and thanks for watching.
Right, okay, I've been told I need to stand here for 18 seconds and tell you to go and watch other videos, so here are some other videos. That's 10 seconds. Here are some channels. 13. People that were responsible for this video are below here. Bye.